we are having a problem. Things are not working out. Single people cannot find someone to marry that is sensible. Am I right, singles? Married people are trying to figure out what they got themselves into, because it's a challenge. Divorcees are afraid to try again because of fear, broken hearts, distrust. And so everyone is having struggles. Even the widower who's been married for a long time, their spouse may have died, are still pondering whether they have the internal fortitude to try again and live with someone. What does it mean for their spouse who died? How do they live with someone else, sleep in the bed with someone when they had someone who was with them for years? There's a struggle in their minds. It's a battle. Relationships are problems. So you better listen carefully, because all of us are products of relationship. Either that didn't work, hardly working, barely working, or didn't work at all. And we need to learn the secret of the kingdom's perspective of relationships and how God wants to restore the authority of his foundations of relationships to us. I want to begin to talk a little bit about the institution of the home in this session. Based on biblical chronology, man has been on earth for 7,000 years as we know him. Based on biblical chronology. The earth may be much older than that, but the history of humans on earth, based on the biblical historical records, places us on earth at least 7,000 years. And most of those 7,000 years, civilization has produced nothing better than what God produced, and that is the marriage. Every society cultivates a context for relationship between male and female and children. Even the most uncivilized societies have some form of marriage, which means that somewhere in the human gene there is a divine understanding that you cannot live like animals. When you go in the forest and you meet an uncivilized so-called native tribe, when you live with them for a few hours, you realize they are not uncivilized. A man does have one woman in that village, and he does have a hut with his children, even though no one told them about marriage. Only dogs move from puppy to puppy and dog to dog. And even some dogs, I notice, are faithful. We have become confused as humans, where we change partners the way animals do. It's like we are in heat and we have to deliver. What a tragedy. And yet, no matter how advanced we've become, we have never improved on God's original idea. A man and a woman living together in a covenant of commitment. And yet, please write this down, the greatest source of frustration and pain and joy at the same time is love and relationships. Everybody in this auditorium and the thousands watching me all over the world, you know what it feels like to have the joy of your first high school love and the hurt of someone leaving you. It seems as if this thing we call love is sweet and bitter. It's happiness and hurt. It's pain and pleasure. And all of us still carry some memories of those hurts. It's bad enough to have pain in a relationship, but it's worse when you are trapped in a marriage with the pain. You can't get out. And this is why marriage has been the most common context for this drama of up and down, happiness and hurt, pain and pleasure, good times and bad times. I hate you, I love you. This mystery we call marriage. Some people are even wondering whether marriage should even survive the 21st century. Maybe there's a better way, they say, we can live with one another without having to hurt one another. And we have come up with our own ideas. But no one has yet improved on God's simple idea. One man, one woman in a contract called matrimony, in a context of covenant. You can't beat it. This is why when two people live together for a long time and they've not been married, they are living on a time bomb. Because there is no contractual commitment. Every morning you wake up on hope that the person stays. That is too much stress. As a matter of fact, most of the diseases in our countries, I believe, are caused by living in the house with someone. Because the stress level is so high that the cells in our bodies, we call them free radicals, when they are under stress, they become under pressure and they multiply fast and they become tumors. A tumor is a cell under stress where the chromosomes are having to multiply too fast and you end up with a growth. Doctors will tell you, scientists have proven, that stress is the number one source of most of our diseases. This is why it's important to stay away from stress. And nothing can be more stressful than going home. Because so many homes have failed, here's what we've done. And this is here in my country and in your country. Because marriages and homes have failed so often, here's what we've concluded. Number one, we would rather cohabit. Cohabitation means let's not get too committed. Let's just enjoy ourselves for a while. I'll have free sex and I'll pay the rent. That's cohabitation. I'll cook for you. You take care of my babies. That's cohabitation. Let's not get committed. Let's not get married. Let's not get involved in all that stuff. Let's just cohabitate. That leads to number two. We have what we call trial marriages. A trial marriage, the person says, look, before we get married, let's live together for a while to see if it's going to work out. How dumb. But that's what people are doing. The third thing they come up with is what they call intimacy without commitment. That means I'll have sex with you, but don't expect nothing from me. I want you to have my baby, but not my money. Intimacy without commitment. We've also invented something called marriage with preconditions. They call it prenuptial marriage. I'll marry you, but you have no right to put your name on my house paper. Precondition. I'll marry you, but you have no access to my property in Andres. Precondition. I'll marry you, but my first marriage, my commitment to my children, you can't touch that. They get all the house, they get all the land, you get nothing. That's a precondition. All kinds of stuff we come up with. And then we got a third one, a fifth one, prenuptial agreements. I want you to sign before we get married that you don't want nothing from me. Hollywood is famous for that. When people got a lot of stuff, they want prenuptial agreements. In other words, I don't trust you already. Let's get married. This is insane. So we got secret bank accounts, private properties hidden away that the person doesn't know about. We even got 3 extra children in Canada and 1 in Jamaica. In other words, we got these strange relationships we develop. And this one, we have basically developed this spirit where we don't appreciate marriage covenant. We're afraid of it. And yet we want love. How can there be love when I don't trust you? We start off with questioning whether you come to take from me rather than I came to give to you. We are in danger. I believe God has sent you this message today. God has said, look, you can't go any further in this year until you get this right. You got to get back to my authority on relationships. Young people, I'm glad you're here today. Here's something that I said to you before. Write this down. If we do away with the tradition of marriage, what will we replace it with? Maybe you're smarter than God. No. So far, we've come up with some stuff that ain't working, right? I just showed you the list. None of them is working. Bahamians call it shacking up. How about common law? Common law means we are married in law, but it's common. Anybody know about it? We just kind of assume that we have a covenant. You can't assume you have a covenant. And that's why many of you in this room, your past life is full of hurt because you lived with someone. You gave them your body, your mind, your time, your years, and then they still gave their wife every day. Common law. Common law to me is glorified prostitution. That's just the way it is. That's what it is. You know, they paying your rent, you're giving them sex. What's the big deal? Yes, sir. There's no commitment, no dedication, no love. And by the way, if sex is love, then no one has more love than a prostitute. So that anybody can convince you that if you love me, you'll have sex with me. Don't ever mix sex with love. They are not the same. It's very important. There's no improvement on what God has made. Here's why. Here's my question. What is more efficient and effective than marriage? Marriage gives you commitment, loyalty, support, community, love, and security. You can't get them outside of marriage. And even in marriage, some folks can't get them. Because the person who they married don't understand marriage, or you don't either. And you got married. Marriage is designed to meet the needs of the human spirit, such as mutual respect, a sense of belonging to someone and to something, and a sense of importance. You are significant to somebody. This is why when unfaithfulness takes place, it hurts so much. Because everybody in a relationship want to believe they are the most significant person in your life. When you share your life with someone else outside of a relationship, you are telling the person in the relationship that you found someone more important. So you've destroyed their need to feel important. No one should compete with the person you married. That includes your mother and your father. No one. So it's very important for you to understand that humans need to feel respected. They need to feel that they belong to someone and to something. And they need to feel that they are significant to you. These are human needs. Everyone has them. How do you build a good relationship? Where does it begin? Write this statement down, please. The key to all interpersonal relationships is your intra-personal relationship. What did I say? I can't hear you. The key to all interpersonal relationships is the quality of your intra-personal relationship. That means getting along with yourself is more important than getting along with me. If you don't like you, you cannot love me. So the most important person you want to fall in love with is not another person. If you fall in love with you, and you are the most important person to you, and you are valuable to you, and you are special to you, and you are worthy to you, and you have high esteem of your value to you, then if you give yourself to someone else, you gave them something valuable. But if you don't like you, and you give yourself to me, you gave me something you don't even want. That's how serious this is. And every day there are people walking to the altar dressed in bride dresses and tuxedos who don't have love for themselves. That is the source of all of your problems. Because if you love yourself, it protects you from being hurt. Let me give you something to think about. Write this down. The foundation for loving others is loving yourself. Jesus said the greatest commandment in the law is to love God and then to love your neighbor to the same degree you love yourself. You cannot love another person any more than you love yourself. So the value you put on yourself is the value you put on me. The reason why all of y'all are safe with me is because I love me. I love you because I love me. That protects you. Because according to Jesus, I cannot love you any more than I love myself. So the more I love myself, the safer you are, because now you'll be loved. If a person doesn't love themselves, that means they feel like they are lacking something. Okay? So what do? They relate to you to make up for the lack. So they become a parasite. They suck on you to fill up what's lacking in them, and so you become a host for the leech. That's why they say things like, if you leave me now, you take away the deepest part of me. Ooh, girl, baby, please don't go. What you mean don't go? Gone, girl? Or some of y'all remember this kind of revelation. You are the sunshine of my life. Yeah, that's why I'll always stay around you. Now, what you just told her was, when she goes away, you are in darkness. Ain't nobody should be your sunlight. Boy, y'all ain't clapping for that. That's a good place to clap, man. The way it's supposed to be is, you're supposed to be a sun by yourself. Then when I meet you, I meet another sun. When we get together, we create a constellation. Now, just in case you won't leave me, I still got my light. Clap now, I dare you. So I am no longer a parasite to you. When I come into your life, I become a part of the constellation to make us shine brighter, baby. That's self-love. Not selfish love, self-love. It's very important. This is why it's important for you to be single before you get married. Let me say this quickly. Write this down. Write fast right now. Singleness is the most important state of a human development. your single life. Why? Because singleness is the foundation of God's design for the human family. God didn't begin the human race with a couple. He did not. He began the whole human race with one person. And what's amazing is all of his instructions was only given to that one person. One person. Why? Because he wanted that one person to get it all together. Get your life together. Adam didn't even know he needed anyone. He was so fulfilled. God had to interrupt him to get him married. Read your Bible. Genesis 2 says, and the Lord God said, it is not good for this man to be alone. Adam didn't say, I want somebody. I'm 42. My clock ticking. Listen, he was so busy naming animals, ruling the earth, walking on water. He was so powerfully dominating the world. He ain't had time to go looking for nobody. Let them meet you dominating. I discovered something in life, you know. You always find what you are looking for. I'm going to say this again. This sounds too simple. This is true. You will always find what you're looking for. If you're looking for any old thing because you're old, you're going to find any old thing. I guarantee it. By the way, to the ladies, boy, I tell you, I feel for you all so badly. I mean, God, you know, I cried out for God for the last 40 years for these women, these single women. I cry for you all. Your pastor cried for you all the time. I mean, God mad now. I'm mad at God now. I said, God, you got to get Barbara married right now. Pretty quick, Lord, do something. It is so hard to find a good man. Hard. I carry this burden with me still. Lucy, look at you, girl. Fine looking chick. Deck right out in all of your glory. These dumb men don't understand good things when they see it. Lucy, oh Lucy. But it's tough. And then when you become so frustrated, you begin to settle for anything. Mistake. I discovered something. Diamonds are never found on top of the ground. Just rock. That's a deep revelation. You just got to you missed the revelation. Diamonds, you got to dig deep in the ground for them. Rock everywhere. Cheap rock. If they're easy to find, run. My wife had to wink at me 10 times for me to look at her. On the assembly line at QC. She thought I wasn't looking. I mean, I know I'm a good-looking brother. I know I'm cute, man. Hey, I got it all together. And she looked at me, and every time she turned away, I said, I saw you looking. You know what the Bible says to a woman? It says, he that findeth a wife. That means you shouldn't be looking. He should discover you because you're too busy with fulfilling your purpose. But some women are so desperate. They say, I wait for him to find me, child. Let me go find him. Come here. Yes, you will marry me. Oh, yes, you will. Sit down. Put on this suit. Ooh, Jesus. I'm thinking something I want to say so badly. Should I say it? My wife, should I say it? Darling, let me say it, please. Please, baby. I can say it anyhow. In the next few months, in the Bahamas, there are going to be a whole lot of sad eyes coming to us. And I just got a feeling somewhere deep in my spirit. What are you all laughing at? All the guilty people laughing. Since I can't find no Bahamian, come here, chong chong ching chong. I just Yes. I don't reserve a whole section in the church. There are going to be some pretty Bahamian babies. Lord, deliver us. They only come in here to wake. Leave them alone. But it's difficult. Write this down. God began the human family with one single human. And that's important. Which means that God established his foundation for relationship. And it is the individual, not the couple. Which means that it's more important for you to be an individual than to be a couple. He focused on the couple. He developed the individual first. He trained the individual. He taught the individual. All commands God gave Adam was in the absence of Eve. Read your Bible. He never told Eve about nothing. Because he wanted the individual to have a complete, total wholeness. To the point where he didn't even know he needed somebody. What a way to live. Here's something to remember then. 1 Corinthians. Tell your neighbor, you better read this one. Okay, let's read this one together. 1 Corinthians 7 verse 8. Read. Now to the unmarried, Paul says, and to the widow, I say, it is good for you to stay unmarried, just like I am. Why? But if they cannot control themselves, he says, they should marry. For it is better to marry than to burn. You can reduce your life to sex. You can reduce your marriage to nothing but chemicals, hormones. Paul says, if you get married that way, at least you're not sinning outside. But it'll be a poor reason to get married. Now, the only problem is, if you get married because you want to have sex, then your marriage is doomed already. Right, Doc? You as a doctor. You know that the older you get, your desire for sex begins to decline. And if your love is based on sex, then as your sex declines in age, so will your love. So if you are married because of that stuff, you better buy a truckload of Viagra. And even that can't help you after 65. Praise the Lord. All the men getting nervous now, see? Paul says, if you want to get married because of passion, go right ahead. He said, but if you don't have to, control yourself. Wait, he says. Here's why. Look at the next verse. Read the next verse. Verse 26. Read. Come on, now, go. Because of the present crisis, I think it is good for you to remain as you are. Are you married? Do not seek a divorce. Are you unmarried? Do not look for a wife. But if you do marry, you've not sinned. And if a virgin marries, she has not sinned. But those who marry will face plenty troubles in this life. Paul said, look, stop telling people, I get married. He said, tell them, I go in for trouble. I think we should actually call it that, Welcome to my trouble. I'm inviting you to my trouble. Because somehow we get this idea that once I get married, all my troubles are gone. The Bible says something different. In other words, you was a problem when you was by yourself. Now that you got married, you got two problems. You never know what you really are and who you are until somebody's there to tell you. And that's what marriage does. It gives you an opportunity for someone to tell you how bad you are. You never smell your own foot. So somebody got to tell you, you know something, your foot smells stink. And guess what? You get mad. They will stink a long time. You just couldn't smell them, that's all. You married a smeller. Trouble has come. You would leave the toilet seat down and use the toilet, sir, and wet it up with your urine. And you would go to work and no one bothered you. That was your apartment all by yourself. You could pee anywhere you want to pee. Oh, God, you got married now. And she uses a word that makes you angry. You are nasty. Oh, Lord Jesus. All of a sudden you feel there's a demon in my house. Many troubles, Paul says. So let's be sober when we talk about relationships. Let's be honest and say, look, we're going to have some problems. This ain't no bed of roses. There are thorns all up in these roses. We're going to have a good time and a little bad time. We're going to have a pleasure and also some pain. And we go into these marriages with this crazy idea that everything is just, you better stop reading Cinderella. Cinderella is exactly what you're supposed to be in fantasy. Let me tell you, man, listen to me, man. Should I tell them? I can tell you anyhow. You know, some men believe they married Cinderella, but Lord, leave me alone, please. Oh dear. Most men marry her sisters. I thought you Cinderella. Jala, my sister. Everybody take a deep breath. This list is serious. 12 advantages of being single. Number 1, you manage your own time. Number 2, you manage your own priorities. Number 3, you manage your own friendships. Number 4, you manage your own space when you're single. You can decide who comes into your space. Number 5, if you're single, you also manage your own relationships. You decide who you want to relate to. Number 7, when you are married, when you're single, you can manage your own life's purpose. This is what I want to do with my life. You know, one got to tell me what to do. Number 7, when you're single, you manage your own intellectual development. I want to go to college again. I want to take another course. See, when you're married, you can't just do that. You got 3 children and a husband. Or a wife and 5 children. You want to go back to college? Brother, you got 5 children and a wife. See, so when you're single, you can go to any school you want to, take courses in the night. You can start all night up studying in the library. But when you're married, you can't sit in no library. Where you been? What you mean you're studying? I called the library, you wasn't there. Life ain't simple when you're married. Another one, number 8, when you're single, you can manage your own body. You can decide what you want to do with your body. I want to go jogging. I want to go on a fast for 10 days. But if you're married, the Bible says you got to ask permission for your husband when you go on a fast. Or your wife. When you're single, you can manage your life's plan. You can plan your own life. And number 10, when you're single, you can manage your own values. Sometimes you marry people and their values are different. And you're stuck with that value. This person like to curse. The person like to drink. They like to go carousing. They want you to go to their clubs with them. They want you to go to their drink and social parties with them. And here you are stuck in this marriage, and that ain't your values. But when you're single, you can decide, I want to be holy. I want to be clean. I want to be sanctified. You don't got to consult with nobody. Stop rushing into trouble. Stop rushing into trouble. Is this good stuff? Number 11, when you're single, you can manage your spiritual life yourself. You can read the Bible as long as you want in the night. Stay up all night, read the Bible. If you're married, come to bed. I want some. I read the Word. The Word? Oh, Lord, my sister. She's praying for her brother right now. Is this real? It's real, man. We can't play around with relationships. Some of y'all can't wait to get married. Look what you're losing. Look what you're losing when you get married. You got to make sure the person you get married to will not destroy that. Last one. When you are single, you manage what? Your own financial investment. You can spend your money the way you want. That's a big one, right? When you get married, you can't just buy what you feel like anymore. You won't go buy your expensive blue jeans. Brother, light bill due. So don't rush into this stuff. You know, this is the answer. Matter of fact, let me show you something. Write this down. The key to relationships. Write this down. You are not ready to live with anyone else until you can live with yourself. Most of us hate ourselves so much. We hate to be alone with ourselves. So we keep music on all the time. We got to be with friends all the time because ourselves are bad company. That's why you like loud music. You don't want to hear your own thoughts. Spending time with yourself is a sign of self-love. But we love to hide in crowds and be with the group and want to go to this thing and go to that party. Why? Because we don't love ourselves. Why don't you have a party all by yourself one day? Buy yourself a cake. No birthday at all. Just buy a cake and you're going to get yourself a tall glass of apple cider with a wine glass and say, me, myself, and I are having a party. But we are so hateful of ourselves, we can't even go shopping by ourselves. We call everybody else to go shopping with us. And then when we ask the person, what do you think about that? I don't like that. I don't like it either. Listen, if you like it, put it on. Tell them, mind your own business. I like this soup. This is what I like. But we are so in contradiction with our own selves, we hate even when other people don't like what we like. So we dress for them. And guess what? They ain't got no money. That's your money you spend. Tell your neighbor, love yourself. Your relationships can only be as successful as your singleness, and therefore no human can meet your ego needs. You need to get God to meet your ego needs all by himself. Don't walk around wanting other people to make you feel good and to feel happy and to feel satisfied. You better come with that already. It's tough to collect the opinions of others for you to feel good. Now, let me just wrap up on this right here. Marriage is not the solution nor the answer to being alone. Why? Because marriage does not solve aloneness. Matter of fact, it manifests loneliness. I have come to the conclusion in all my experience so far, it is possible to be unmarried and not be alone. Let me tell you something, friends. There are people sitting in this room right now who are married. And they are more lonelier than you who are not married. Because they are trapped in a prison and can't get out. Do you know what it is to go home in the night and sleep back to back? Both humans in the room, no one's talking. That is loneliness. Do you know what it is to walk past each other in the passageway of the house and don't talk? This is loneliness. Do you know what it is to want to say something but you're afraid to talk because every time you talk there's a fight? This is loneliness. Getting married doesn't solve that. It creates it. Make a note of this. Marriage was not instituted to solve the problem of being alone. When God said to Adam, it is not good for you to be alone, he did not give him a wife. I know you think he did, but you got to read the Bible carefully. It says the Lord God said, it is not good for this man to be alone. Alone means all in one. So the Lord God took the man and put him to sleep and went inside and took out another human. He built a woman. Then the Bible says, and he brought her to the man. God made what? A woman. And brought her to the man. Now, I studied a little bit of Hebrew in college. And I was shocked when I found out the word bought means to display. Display means God bought her, like putting her on a little display. Just walk past him. So check that out, buddy. And Adam, now read the Bible. Matter of fact, you should turn there and read it for yourself. It says, and Adam looked at her. Can I say this? And Adam said, not God, Adam spoke. Adam says, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. I will call her wombed man, because she was taken out of the man. He's still talking now. And for this cause should a man leave his mother and father. Adam said that, not God. God never gave that man a wife. Matter of fact, it gets worse. Write this down. Human beings were created to solve the aloneness problem. God only gave Adam another human. Adam made her his wife. And God still does that. He only gives you a whole lot of humans. They are all on parade. They come into your life every day. They walk past you. Praise the Lord. Hi there. How you doing? They come. They are parading all around you. You young people, be careful. They are coming all over your life. They come in and out your life. And you got to make a decision. Which one do I say? This is bone of my bone. This is flesh. I'm going to call it my flesh. God will never choose your mate. He will only give you prospects. God is too smart to choose your mate. God knows that if he chooses your mate and it doesn't work out, then you can always blame God for your misery. And just like Adam, you gave me this woman. God said, I didn't give you no woman. I paraded her. You chose her to be your wife. You say, this is the reason why a man should leave his mother and father and cling to his wife, and the two shall be one flesh. God said, okay, right on, brother. That's yours. God will never violate your will. You always got the power to choose. And if you choose wrong, you sleep with that. Somehow we just kind of blame other people for our miseries. You know, if I didn't marry you, but you married me. If I didn't marry you, but you married me. If I didn't, but you did. That's the point I'm getting at. It's as if, this person caused you to marry them. They didn't cause you to marry them. You could have said no. And now you're stuck with this experience and you're sitting there blaming this person. Let me tell you something. You got to study people a long time to learn 10% of who they are. The rest, you got to go on faith. You don't know people until you're sleeping with them. They will never tell you the truth. Especially if they love you. They will lie to you every day. They will make you think their hair is always like that. Every time you come near to them, their breath smells like Listerine. It's like, boy, he got nice breath. That what you think? He just gargled before he came out. He got spray in his bag, man. We lie to people. So before you choose, make sure you want to live with this. You know what we do in relationships? We experiment. And when the experiment doesn't work, we blame everybody else. Look at this one. Make this note. Marriage is the most important decision you'll ever make in your life. Next is salvation. Marriage. Both of them are relationship decisions. The first one is how you decide to relate to God. The second one, how do you relate to a human? Two most important decisions. Sometimes it's easier to buy a car than to choose a spouse. If the car don't work, you take it back. But if you get married, you can't take that back. Choosing a life partner for marriage must not be taken without careful thought. Please, I'm so tired of seeing marriages fall apart. And you have to go back to this level. See, nowhere in Scripture God ever commanded these words, thou shalt get married. It's not a law. You don't have to be married. So you married folks, leave them single people alone. Stop saying things like, you still single? Mind your business. They should ask you, you still happy? They could ask you questions too. Yeah, why are you so depressed all day? I thought you was married. We leave them alone. Enjoy your single life. I met a guy one time. This is in New York. I was speaking at a men's conference, and this guy was 72 years old. He never got married. And at 72, the pastor said he just got married. So I said, I got to meet this guy, man. He was single for 72 years. I said, I got to meet a guy who waited until he was 72 to get married. So he brought the guy in to meet me. I shook his hand, old guy. And I said, sir, man, you've been single for 72 years. He said, yes, praise the Lord. I said, are you happy? Happy. I said, so I got married 2 months ago, man. You know, my wife is beautiful. She's beautiful. She is 72 also. I said, wow. So I said, so how do you feel? He said, I figured it out. If I'm single till I'm 72, that means I was happy for 72 years. Now I'm so old, it doesn't matter. Come on, Clark, that's a good one. What I am giving her ain't nothing left anyhow. So take it. That's what you got. I too old, he says, to even feel angry. She can't wear him out. He already worn out. God will never choose your mate. Now, this is what I want to close on. I want to close on love, and then I want to pray. Please write this down. I know it's a little pushing. It's 1 o'clock, but listen to me. Get this, please. Take this home with you. This is important. Everyone write this down. I want to talk about love for a few minutes. All right? Because love, everyone talks about love. Love is a confusing thing. First of all, I discovered that the greatest danger of love is when you simplify it. I love you. Oh yeah? You don't know what you're talking about. I love you. What do you mean? Stop simplifying something so complicated. As a matter of fact, there are 4 types of love, so I don't know which one you mean. For example, the first kind of love in the Greek is the love phileo. It means brotherly love. The second one is eros. That means fleshly love, like sex. The third one is sterego. This means friendship. And the fourth love is agape. That's divine love from God. All these are love, and they all are different. So when you tell somebody, I love you, which one do you mean? Most of the time when a man tells a woman, I love you, he means number 3. I won't go to bed with you. That ain't love. That's lust. Number 2, eh? Yeah, number 2. See, because his motivation, but he uses the wrong word. He's supposed to say, I eros you. It's from the word erotic. It means, I want to have pleasure with you. It's not love. It's sex. And that's what you can buy on the streets. You can buy eros. You can pay money for it. Phileo is friendship love. And this is the one that people can't handle too well. You know, a man and a woman goes over for a cup of coffee together. And all she wants is phileo. But he wants eros. And they're trying to drink coffee. It's the problem, isn't it? Sometimes a man would take a woman out. All he wants is number 3. He just wants to be friendly with her at this stage. And she bought her diary with the date for the wedding in it. And he's wondering, what's going on here? You just having tea? All he wants is to be a friend. So we can't even relate to one another anymore. We're so mixed up. Love is so complicated. So when someone tells you, I love you, you better try to figure out which one they mean. Write these down and say, look, 1 minute, let me check. Now, what do you mean by that? Do you mean you eros me, you phileo me, you sterego me, or you agape me? Which one you mean? And he'd go, what you dog know? That's time to run. Because you can't simplify such complication. As a matter of fact, the only love that is permanent is agape. Because agape is eternal. And I put this to you. Love is not emotions. Everybody say the will to love. Write that down. Love is an act of the will. Agape is an act of the will. As a matter of fact, here's what's important to write down. Love is a choice. Oh, I wish I could get this into your spirit. Love is a choice. Let me tell you why that's so important. It's not emotional. Because if you get married to someone, listen to me, please, please. You will always meet other people better looking, richer, more intelligent, cute, fine, educated than your spouse. When you get married, people don't vanish. I want you to get me. I'm getting ready to go. When you get married, you will always meet a guy more handsome than your husband. Tall, dark, and rich. Plenty money. And he likes you. What you gonna do? You married. And you will meet women. They're necessarily more beautiful than your wife, you know. They are just more sexually available. And they say the things you want to hear. And they even make the plans for you at the hotel. And they say, you ain't got to give me nothing, you know. They set it up, and here you are. All you got is a choice. That's what love is. People don't vanish. I want you to behemoths get this, because some of these behemoths, you know, and I know what happened. Yes, you know what happened. You didn't keep your choice. Let me tell you something. When you get married, the only thing that keeps you married is a decision. That's all. Nothing else. No feelings, no nothing. And believe me, your ring don't protect you. You know that. You a job and you wear a ring, they don't care. A man comes to you in your job and says, your husband treating you right? That's a serious question. Go buy a gun. You can't discuss no further with this guy. That question is off limits. You entertaining that? Here's a worse one. A woman says to the guy, your wife pleasing you? And all you have is a decision. Love, write down number 3. Love is the response to understanding the value of a thing. If the person you love is valuable to you, you will not compromise. Value. If they sell you for another person's pleasure, they reduce your value. This ain't no Valentine's sermon. Just the real thing, yeah. We need to get this right. Let me tell you something. I see some fine women in the world, man. Now my wife good looking and she cute, she fine. But there's some fine ladies in the world. And sometimes my eyes may go so. My wife will go so. It's a decision. Don't wait for it to go away. Don't wait for the feeling to go away. It ain't going away. You got to run away from the decision. Clap, 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 clap. Marriage is a choice. Love is a choice. Write this down. Love is a force, but it's generated by a decision. The force of love comes from a decision. I decide my wife is my wife, you know. Every day. I decide it every day. We've been married for 32 years, and every day still got to decide, this is my wife. Because women come at me from all over. I see them everywhere. And all I have is my decision. Stop waiting for people to stop attracting you. It'll never stop. You got to decide, this is the one I married to. And that's it. Don't wait for no feelings. And the older you get, usually the more resources you accumulate are getting deep now. Which means that you are more attractive now to the vagabonds. See, if you're young, you ain't got nothing, man, they'll play with you, they ain't to you. Some of you think, well, I've been married 40 years. Oh yeah? You are the bigger target. You got more houses than land. The longer you'll be married, the greater the danger. You got promoted on your job, you better put up more fences. You just got a big bonus, you better get a tank and a bazooka. Because when you get more wealth, Dr. Simmons, that's when the women come out of the woodwork. And all you got is a decision. This is my wife. Marriage ain't no magic. It's a choice. We gotta get this right. Your old boyfriend and your old girlfriend have not given up yet. They don't care if you're married. You need to make a decision. This is my wife. I decide to love her. Listen to me. Listen to me. This is important. There is someone better than your wife. There is someone better than your husband. Get that through your head. There are many people better, but that's the one you chose. That's it. I'm giving him a heart today because you see, we have been victims of this feeling like I found somebody better. What you talking about? Make a note of this. Love is an act of the will. It's supposed to be love. Love is what? An act of the will. Boy, now there's something you never heard before. It's an act of the will, which means that love can decide to hate a person, to love a person who hates them. Let me say it again. Love can decide to hate a person, to love a person who hates them. Let me say it again. Love can decide to love a person who hates them. You can decide to love them. That's how powerful love is. This is why God says, love your enemies. Is that possible? Yes. Because your enemies ain't gonna never make you feel like you're supposed to love them. So you decide. No matter what you do to me, I'm gonna love you. That's love. I told my wife before we got married, I said, let me tell you something. There's one word that won't enter in this relationship, and that's divorce. Now, you and I could fight, throw pot, and think at each other. When it's all over, somehow we can fix this. Because love is a decision. I'm talking about God's standards. This message is for all of us. Some of you are being hurt and abused by other people, even your own spouse. And you have a right to feel the way you feel. But you can decide the higher law. Watch this. Love is a debt, God says. Did you know that? It says, owe no man nothing but to love him. Man, you hurt me. You took my promotion. You blocked my advancement. You stole the bonus with that client that I had all set up. You moved in on me. Now I can't pay off my house because you blocked my client. I hate you. And God says, you owe that person. Boy, that's a tough one, eh? You owe them. Owe no man nothing but love. And here's the big one. Love is a law. Boy, laws are tough, eh? How many times you didn't want to stop at the red light? You were late. But boy, sometimes you don't feel like doing things. But it's a law. We've made love so simple that if we don't feel good, we quit. Love is complicated. Do you know what God did with you? You turned your back on God. You sold his contract for earth to an unemployed cherub. You violated his commands. You took his power and gave it to a demon. You regulated your own life without God. You committed treason against heaven. You told God, get out of my earth. You cursed God. And God says, I decided to love you. And while you were yet a sinner, I ain't gonna wait till you like me. While you are yet a sinner, a rebellious spirit, I will die for you. You know, marriage is hard work. Excuse me. Sir, stand up, please. Your wife is not here. Where's your wife? She's not here today. How long y'all been married? 51 years. still married. Only grace. Only grace. Read this verse for me. Read. Go. A new commandment I give unto you. Love one another as I have loved you, so that you must love one another. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. Look at Romans 13:8. Read. Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. For he who loves his fellow man has fulfilled the law of God. No matter what you do, I must love you.